So super simple video. I just basically want to go over the exact business model I used to be able to make 21K in a singular month, right? This was the month of May. We're now in June, because of the online educational gold rush. Now, if you know what that is, that's great for you. I'm going to be able to go in details on exactly what it is, but you probably have an idea what I'm talking about already, right? But I do want to go more into detail. But it's just to say that this didn't happen overnight, obviously, right? And over the last few years, and 3 years is basically all the duration I've been in the online business space and trying to make money online, stuff like that. I'm 20 now, right? So I started basically 16, 17 years old. I basically went from jumping from business model to business model, probably something you're currently doing right now, right? And a lot of people are doing. And obviously, the reason we do that and the reason we jump is because we see the next flashy thing or whatever, right? And I'm not here to present you the next flashy thing. I'm just here to present you what worked for me after trying all the business models that you probably tried yourself, right? Working 12 plus hours to get my SMA off the ground. One of the business models you either tried or I personally tried. I got a few clients, whatever. But to be able to see constant success and results with it, I didn't, right? I was begging for low ticket clients, getting ghosted in the DMs. I tried all the business models you want, set, thousands of cold DMs, cold calls, whatever you want to, whatever you're thinking about. I probably did, right? To be able to make 21K last month, I'll actually show you proof. This is one of my payment processors, which is Stripe. You probably know that. And then some wires and stuff like that, right? Using the exact business model I'm going to be revealing to you today, right? And the best part with all of this, again, if you saw in the title, it leverages the online education gold rush we're currently entering, and it's completely untapped in the online business space. And when I mean untapped for a lot of people who want to get into it and be able to make money, not untapped for people who are already in it. I'll be able to point out what I mean by that, but it's just to say it's untapped for a lot of people who want to be able to get into it, and there's still a lot of money to be made compared to another industry like potentially SMA, where it's a lot harder than before and a lot of more competition, stuff like that, because of big gurus or whatever, right? So if you stick around the end of this video, you'll be able to walk away with a clear breakdown on how to be able to make 5 to 8K every singular week using the same vehicle. I made another video where I made 9.4K in a singular week with this business model. You can go check out that video if you want, stuff like that. So it's definitely possible, right? Do I make 9.4K weeks every single week? No, it can vary, and that's online business, unfortunately, right? No, nobody just prints money out of thin air and super constant all the time, right? I just went to phase two, but I'm actually just gonna go to phase one. You have the phase one I want to show you is actually just getting clarity on your position, right? So if you want to be able to go from pretty much zero that you probably are right now, or maybe you are at 2K, 3K, 4K, whatever, right? But if you're watching this video, you're probably not at 20K per month, right? So if you want to be able to go from zero to predictably 10 to 20K months fast, you need one thing first: clarity on your current position. If you're not able to look at yourself and be like, what am I doing? What vehicle am I in? What actions am I doing? It's going to be hard to get to there. It's not just the business model, it's also yourself, right? And this is something not a lot of people talk about, right? Because if you don't know your current position, you don't know how to position yourself properly. You'll waste time making the wrong moves. So let's basically break down and figure out where you currently stand, right? And we'll basically assess together 4 key criteria, right? And I'm going to tell you this, but again, if you're watching these videos, this most likely means that you don't have much in any of them. Because if you had plenty of skills and were super high level and stuff like that, you'd probably be making a bunch of money. You wouldn't be looking for ways to be able to make other kind of money with different kind of businesses, right? So this is just a generalization, if you want, of you potentially. Skills, experience, influence, and opportunity vehicles you've tried, right? Number one, skills, most likely low, because if you're looking out for different kind of business models and you haven't found one, or you're still searching or whatever, you probably don't have huge skills, because if you did, you'd already be making a bunch of money if you know how to deliver properly, right? Maybe on your end, watching this video, you've already developed one solid skill, right? And it really only takes one skill to be able to make good money, right? It could be the skill of sales, could be the skill of copywriting, maybe, although AI can take that over, stuff like that, right? Um, yeah, so maybe you have one solid skill, but again, you're still figuring out how the online business world actually works potentially, or how to be able to make money with it. Experience low, right? Maybe you've made some money online as a copywriter, maybe you are an appointment setter, media buyer, freelancer, reseller, you have an agency, stuff like that. Maybe you've made some money, maybe you sign a client, maybe you're trying to sign your first client, stuff like that, right? But you still haven't been able to break past that 5K per month or 2K per month or whatever it is, get studies, clients, build personal brand around it, scale. So your experience is low. Your influence is low because you probably don't have a much leverage right now. No audience. Maybe you do, but probably not. no strong network, no big clients wins or anything like that, right? All you have is the ability to leverage other people's content expertise. That's the position you're in. If you're not good at anything, you're not going to be able to sell anything. And if you don't have an audience, you can't sell it to them either. So you're going to have to associate yourself with someone else, or be able to help someone else with their business. That's the reality of things, right? The opportunity vehicles you've tried, maybe you've tried a few business models, like I said, SMA, ecom, content creation, dropshipping, whatever it is. Maybe you may, I'm not saying that these are bad, by the way. I just want to point that out immediately. I've tried all of them that you see on the screen. I was younger as well, so that's to take into consideration. But I know a lot of people who are making a bunch of money in every single niche, right? It's just there's some that are harder and some that are a better vehicle for long term and stuff like that, right? Maybe you made some money with one of these models, right? But nothing that felt strong enough to be able to replace the traditional path you were on and you want to be an escape, because that's why we started an online business, or to be able to scale to those 10 or 20K months, right? So now that we have identified your career position, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe you are plenty of skills, plenty of experience, stuff like that, but most likely not, right? Most likely at the beginning stages, or maybe at intermediate or whatever it is, right? Because let's actually zoom out for a second, right? Before choosing a business model and crafting an offer and even worrying about outreach, we actually need to take a step back. And again, this is something not a lot of people see, especially in these videos, stuff like that. You need to actually understand how actually money works, right? Because once you understand the core principles of money, you'll stop chasing tactics and start building a business that compounds over time, which is essentially what you in reality want. You don't want just something that works for a month and then that's it, right? So phase two, I just want to break down over quickly what money even is in the first place and how to be able to get online, right? Before you actually try to make money, you need to understand what it actually is, where it comes from, why people give it to you, how to get in the right vehicle in the online business, maybe stuff like that. Here is the universal law of money, right? Making money comes from providing value to a market or a niche. This is for any business, any money exchange, whatever. It's value to someone specifically, right? So the value you provide is going to directly equal the amount of money you make. This is like basics 101, right? And this is something people don't realize, right? If you want to be able to make 15K a month, you need to provide 15K a month worth of value to the market, right? Unless you're scamming or doing things incorrectly. But if you're doing things correctly, that's how it is, right? So, what is the value formula, right? You provide value by solving problems that cause pain directly, right? People don't pay for your time, they pay for the outcomes directly, right? And the bigger the problem you solve, the more you can charge. That's simple, right? This is a little just a quick drawing to explain it, right? I'm starving. He has the fish, he has the money, problem solution. That's it, right? And this is for any kind of business, any kind of service, any kind of anything, right? But not all problems are created equal, right? And that's why there are three types of people when it comes to making money online. I'm going to get into those, right? So this person number one, and this is for kind of any business if you want, but it's just to give you an example, right? Person one, the low perceived value, $200 to $300 a month around, right? Just put some numbers to give you an example. They do the task with almost no impact, right? If you're doing something that's not actually changing the business and it's not actually bringing any clear benefit to it or clear growth, you're not going to get reward for it. And that's simple. That's why, if you're very skilled at something and companies need you and there's not a lot of people that are skilled, they're going to pay you more. I think you understand what I'm saying, right? So example for that is filling out surveys for market research companies, which is simple to do, right? Because sure, it's technically where you are working for someone and you're doing tasks, stuff like that, but it doesn't actually solve a painful problem, right? It's easy to replace, pays cents per hour and leads nowhere long term, right? Person two, medium perceived value. We're going to be able to make 2 to 5K a month. This is your typical job working at a company and putting in 40 hours a week, right? They solve a problem. We need someone for that position, but it's not like a urgent or super painful or tied directly to real ROI. Or the problem with that is they can just swap you out for anybody that can do it, or almost, right? That person just needs to learn how the job works and get replaced. So it's not like clear the ROI on you specifically and stuff like that, right? Not saying you're pointless, but it's just that's the reality of things when a company sees your any kind of not just company but also like working with people and being able them to be able to pay you, right? They often work slow or saturated markets that aren't good, right? Person number three, which is pretty much the person you want to be, the high perceived value, right? They solve painful high stakes problem in booming markets, something that a lot of people are after. They're able to be there and help that person directly with a huge problem they have, right? And I'm be able to, it's gonna make sense on the business model I do when I've been able to make money, stuff like that. It's because I'm exactly that kind of person, right? And there's not a lot of people in that person. I'll give you a perfect example of SMMA. The reason it was working for a lot of people at the start is because, doing Facebook ads for a business and them like, tripling their revenue. Every company wanted that at the start, right? When everybody was doing it, was making a bunch of money. So if you were that kind of person, knew exactly how to do it and do it properly, you were very high perceived value, right? But now everybody does it. Ads are, super expensive like that. You're not really, a huge value, but you have to be really good at what you do, even more than before, right? And in booming markets, for clients who are actively looking for help and willing to pay top dollar, right? And the reason they're willing to pay top dollar is because they know they're going to be able to make more from you. So it makes sense. Like if you're able to make 10K a month, would you pay that person 2K a month, 5K a month, or whatever? Obviously, right? So now that you kind of understand how money works and why it's directly linked to problems with people, right? And why they're going to be able to pay you, and how the highest earners solve painful problems in booming markets. What I mean booming markets, that something that everybody's after, right? A perfect industry is the industry I'm in, right? Online education, be able to take the skill that you have and be able to help someone with it. That's exactly what it is. I'm gonna get into um, that directly as well, right? So let's talk about the fastest way to print money online right now, right? What industry to be in and what kind of person to be in as well, right? And I already talked to you about it. It's the $300 billion online industry. I could put out numbers, but I don't think it actually means anything to you. But it's just to say it's really booming. And I'll be the first one to tell you. You don't have to take my word. You can just go on Instagram, go on TikTok, and start scrolling. What do all these people do have in common? They're all doing this, and everybody's getting into this because people are making a bunch of money and stuff like that, right? Unfortunately, you can't do it yourself because you don't have any skills, but you have to find a way to be able to get in this industry, which is exactly the way I thought when getting into this business model, right? Coaching businesses, content creators, sales funnels are everywhere, right? Everyone, and I repeat, legit everyone, someone you don't even know who has 1,000 followers could be making right now 200K a month with their coaching business or whatever it is. I'm telling you this, I've seen it firsthand. I have clients as well who do great numbers, who have low followers and stuff like that, right? Everyone, everyone's trying to sell an info product using a simple process, and people that aren't even selling it right now want to be able to sell it, and they don't know where to go to be able to sell it. That's also where you come in, by the way, right? And it kind of goes like this, right? It leads with the attention, the nurturing of that attention, and then the sales process to be able to convert that attention into people who buy, customers, clients, if you will, right? Because while many established coaches already have, or making a bunch of money and have all their systems uh, done correctly, and they're constantly just being pitched by copywriters, sales rep, marketers, all trying to grab a piece of the pie that they're already doing, there's a huge hidden of group that most people overlook, right? And again, this is exactly where I get most of my clients, right? Micro creators with expertise in one specific field. Could be anything, right? Could be Airbnb, real estate agents who are very successful at what they do, but they're local. They have 1,000, 2,000 followers. People are really good at dating. Maybe people are in shape. People are very good in the creative side of things. There is millions and millions of people who have expertise that could do it, or maybe that are looking to be able to do it, turn it into coaching business, right? Because what's the difference between, let's say Airbnb coach, right, who's has his coaching offer, who's making 100K a month if you want, and the guy who does Airbnb but he's just local, just hasn't built his audience, or just has 1,000 followers or whatever. He just doesn't know exactly how to be able to build his coaching offer, because if he did, he could get the same revenue, right? So that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? You already have the knowledge in a small but engaged audience. What I mean, small audience, not 50K followers, like 4K followers, right? And that's exactly where you come in and what I exactly do. Info offer consultant, where you're basically consulting them on how to actually build their info offer or their coaching business or whatever, right? That's kind of the name I give. And here's exactly what you consult them on, right? On packaging the knowledge into a high ticket coaching or mentorship offer, right? A lot of people are looking to do that, have no idea how, and they don't even know where to outreach to someone to be able to get the help from, right? You can't go online and be like, I need someone who helps me with my high ticket coaching program from A to Z and stuff like that. Like, it's not clearly going to go out, right? And you're not going to be able to work with a person. You're going to work with the company and who wants to work with the company, right? I help them also build the systems to launch, sell, and scale their program and optimize their funnels to be able to turn leads, to pay clients, and the whole thing, right? And that exactly, that's the person three. That the service I'm doing is high perceived value, right? Because I know I can help someone make a lot of money compared to just helping someone with making a bit of money or just helping them a bit with their business. I'm actually helping someone like change their life completely, right? And here's exactly why it works so well, right? With the right systems in place, delivering results become about 80% automated. You can stack high ticket retainers and revenue share, right? I know there's different kind of business models where you always ask for revenue share, stuff like that. This you have the possibility, which is great. You can charge anywhere from 1 to 4K upfront plus. I as well charge 4K and more for clients as well. And again, you can get a percentage of their revenue if they scale and if you're in a position to help them get there, right? If somebody makes 50K or 100K per month, you're able to get a percentage of that, which could be very, very interesting, right? And you no need to do a done for you agency work or hire a big team to be able to do that, right? Uh, and I know this business model works because I lived it, right? I went from grinding out 2K months, stuck in a typical marketing agency that everybody was pitching me to do, chasing leads, juggling clients that didn't want to pay me. And I was like basically just like a freelancer, right? And trading time for cash, that's essentially what I did. I could spend hours and hours per day on it, and I wasn't really getting paid anything, right? To hitting again 21K months by shifting into high leverage and being that third person, systematized info offer consulting business, right? I took the core skills that I learned from a traditional agency but applied them in the right vehicle. And that pretty much made all the difference. Again, not only I took those skills, but I also learned the skills. And I know what you're thinking. Well, I don't know how to help that person with that. It's a question of just learning it, like anything, right? Let's say like learning how to be a lifeguard. Well, you have to go through a course. You have to go through this. That's the same thing you have to do. And once you learn it, you're qualified to save people's lives. You're qualified to help people with their info product. That's the same thing, right? And this is the phase four if you want, right? This is just showing you quickly exactly what you have to do, right? You have to pick a specific niche of who you want to be able to help, which kind of experts do you want to help, craft a simple outcome-driven offer on exactly what you're going to help them out with, find ideal clients, so this is like the average if you want, follow up with personalized Loom pitch. If you don't know what a Loom is, it's just an app where you can basically, I'm using it right now to be able to record a video, make everything super super personalized, right? This is not the typical SMMA where you just blast outreach messages and cross your fingers, right? This is something where you're specifically reaching out to people that you know are going to be able to get good results and just showing them the opportunity without directly pitching them like work with me, just actually showing them the opportunity first. That's how you should go about it. And again, I've made a video on my YouTube if you want to be able to get to check that out, right? Directly book sales calls, then clients, and then super important to deliver results. And then the rest of the business will follow, getting case studies, getting more clients, maybe doing ads, etc. Right? It's all things I've been able to do. Me personally, I'm still doing right now, right? Again, this business model and just following this exact framework has allowed me to be able to have this kind of lifestyle if you want, right? Be able to travel, to eat to nice places, have my car and stuff like that. And like I said, I showed you for the month of May, but on the month of June, we're really on track for that kind of revenue we're able to make, as you can see from here, right? So that's exactly what the business model allowed me to do. And again, I wanted to show you this because I was someone who tried so many things, that didn't work out, stuff like that. The second I find this and I just realized this about the kind of person I need to be, that's when everything clicks for me, right? So again, if you're watching this video, you are wondering how it can actually work, how to be able to get to the industry. You've seen everybody making a bunch of money with their course and their info product and stuff like that. And you're like, how can I actually get to the industry myself, right? Maybe without doing all the other things I've seen and stuff like that. I can actually help you. Again, I'm not selling course. I'm not just pitching you on everything. I don't want you to be able to reach out if you're actually not serious and actually not willing to put it in the work. This is a real business, right? And I'm working a lot to be able to get that kind of money. I'm not just lowballing it or just whatever, right? So again, if you're interested in getting my one-to-one help to be able to sign your first clients to 10K a month or 90 days or less, book a call directly with me below this video. Okay, it's going to be Calendly. Book a call, pick a time. We'll be able to speak together and see exactly if you're a good fit for what I do and be able to help you out. It's not free coaching. I'm not just going to help you out for free and stuff like that. Just actually, if you're serious, book a call. We'll be able to speak and see exactly how we can help you out. If not, you can also just DM me on Instagram and ask any questions you may have about the business model, about everything I showed you, and it's like that, right? So that's it for me, and I hope to speak to you soon.